So you're saying about dinosaur toys?
Yeah, I noticed as a kid they were never articulated, and that always kind of bugged me.
Yeah, like I said, I think that these are mainly intended for libraries because, like, my library had like 50 of these, and they were all like just big chunks of plastic.
Yeah, so I was in there and I saw this thing and like, wow, you can turn its head, it would be good for making little animated films. That's how articulated it is. And I said, wow, that's $20. That's a good price. Yeah, I fell for the ruse.
But yeah, speaking of dinosaurs, welcome to the Monkey Bar. And today we are putting on forth a episode that is true to our namesake. Today is an episode mostly devoted to King Kong. Given that Kong versus Godzilla, like the reboot, or like King of the Monsters, right?
That's coming out. Then they're having Godzilla versus King Kong.
Okay, you know if King Kong is going to be in that?
Probably won't be in here. Like, maybe at the end they're going to have, like, this is my favorite, when Godzilla's done whooping ass, you hear, but there was another, and King Kong walks out or something.
Yeah.
It was I that killed your father.
Yeah, but we are getting ahead of ourselves. But yeah, let's talk about the franchise as a whole at first before we get into the specific movies. What was your first King Kong movie?
I would have to say King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah, I wrote it down as Godzilla versus King Kong, but the official title is King Kong versus Godzilla.
But why they did it was Godzilla was kind of in a decline, so they decided to throw him onto a Kong movie to add more money. And that's why in the movie King Kong is depicted as a superior beast, just stronger, more intelligent, more charismatic.
That's interesting, because it seems to me, like, as an outsider, it feels like Godzilla has always been popular.
Well, this was his third film. Second one, they killed him off again fighting Anguirus. So they had this character sitting on the back burner, and they were talking to Universal. Or was it Universal?
It's either Universal or Paramount.
Universal.
Okay.
Yeah, and they said, hey, we'd like to do a crossover film. And they said, cool. Can you make the costume? And apparently they did, and they were sold. I remember that costume as the wax chest Kong.
Really?
The area over the nipples were like clean as stone, so that they could beat it, and make the drum sound.
I'm getting Batman and Robin flashbacks of bat nipples. No, it's just Kong nipples. My first experience with it was actually the Peter Jackson movie. Like, not exactly the best experience. I think I remember seeing a bit of the original 1930s version, like, years before that, because my grandpa, he had a hobby of taping movies off of Turner Classic and just putting them in the library. That might have been one of the movies that he did. I don't know, but for the most part, mine was the Peter Jackson movie, which I didn't really like. Not a lot of people seem to. But again, getting a little ahead of ourselves. Yeah, speaking of the 1930s movie, let's talk about that. Have you seen that?
I have. I admit it was a hard sit for me because old movies are a bit harder for me than they used to be. I really enjoy the movie soundtrack more than the actual movie itself. Did you know it was the first movie to have its own original sound score?
I think I remember hearing that, yeah.
Yeah, so they made a big deal about the music and about the effect. Ray Harryhausen almost actually did Kong, but he stepped out for another project.
So who did the animation?
Name escapes me. It was one of the great masters from what I hear.
Yeah, I never saw the 1930s movie. I've seen bits and pieces of it, like I said. I did see the spider pit sequence that they recreated in promotion for the Peter Jackson version. And that was interesting. I don't know if you saw that.
I did. That's actually a scene I really enjoy.
For those of you who are not familiar, Peter Jackson... Like there's a lost reel, I guess, of this sequence that was cut from the original. I guess it was deemed too gruesome or violent.
Or too scary.
Too scary, yeah. Yeah, and they say that millennials are too squeamish now, or too pansy, whatever. The point is that the scene got cut, and for the remake, Peter Jackson decided to redo it based on the original script. And it was interesting to see how they took the original models, but they couldn't open them up because they're preserved or whatever. And so instead, they just did a CAT scan of the inner skeleton. It was interesting to see how complex these models can be.
Yeah, I'm getting into polymer sculpting myself, and the armatures must have been wild on those bad boys.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays we're talking about 3D printing when it comes to stop motion animation. Because I think it was, Studio Leica. They might have not been the first, but they're responsible for Paranorman, Kubo and the Two Strings. I was looking up Coraline, yeah. I was looking up stop motion smearing because I was curious to see if they did that or if it was possible to do that. And apparently, Studio Leica, when they were doing Paranorman, they were using 3D printing to do the smears for these characters because normally, I guess it's really time-consuming to sculpt it by hand. So what they do is just sculpt it all on the computer and then hook it up to a 3D printer and then print out the model.
The first movie to do that was actually Tim Burton's The Peach movie.
James and the Giant Peach?
Yeah. They did that for the face on the spider character because it was too thin and delicate.
For, you mean motion smearing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was wondering, is 3D printing that old? Or
If 3D printing, it is, but it was very, very primitive at the time. The machine was probably huge.
Yeah. But yeah, the spider pit sequence, it looked pretty cool when they did it.
I'm going to tell you a fun fact. You can see the design of a prototype of the skull crawler in that scene.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did tell me that.
Yeah.
No, well, you didn't tell our audience that though, so that's a bit of interesting information. Another thing that I found interesting about the behind the scenes when they were recreating it was they needed to cast actors to fill in these for the old footage. It was interesting to see them look specifically for actors who fit the facial structure of people in the 1930s. That's something you don't really think about when looking at old movies, is how people look different back then versus actors, at least, who look like they do now.
Yeah, that's one of the parts that I never thought about until I heard a bit more about it.
Mm-hmm. It's that level of detail that I guess Peter Jackson looks at.
I noticed about the original was to say this. Say what you will about the man's writing and directing, he had an eye for detail.
Yeah. Yeah, have you ever seen his early stuff like Dead Alive?
Yeah. Dead Alive is a very good movie, in my opinion.
I still need to see that.
It's actually here at the library.
Oh, yeah, I can check that out. But yeah, I don't really have much to say about the 1930s movie other than it was influential for its time. I often think about what the audience reaction must have been like back in the day. Because I remember, reading about Night of the Living Dead, how people were just vomiting in the theaters, during the zombie eating scenes, and how that must have been almost the same thing with King Kong. Because you have sequences where you have giant King Kong legs stepping on people,
and you have one of the most brutal death scenes in a movie when they kill that Rex by snapping its jaw.
Oh, that happened in the original?
Yeah. Except there was only one T-Rex.
As opposed to 4 in the Jackson version?
Yeah. We need more Rexes!
Yeah, they did do that in the Peter Jackson version. Yeah, not much more to talk about.
We're kind of bleeding into the Toho era now, from the 30s on.
Yeah.
Toho is the Kong I know best. Mm-hmm. Mostly from Godzilla, or King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
And I also know him from King Kong Escapes because they had Mechani-Kong.
Do you want to talk about that? Because I'm not really familiar with that.
Sure. King Kong Escapes, it's basically a retro of the original film. But the interesting thing was they took a character from the Hanna-Barbera series. They had a Mechani-Kong, and instead of making him look like a brown robot, they designed him in the style of Mechagodzilla. I'm not sure who came first, but I'm pretty sure it was Mechagodzilla. They also, if I remember correctly, don't quote me on this, they plan to use him to fight one of their monsters called Barugan. That movie fell through. So they trains in the Frankenstein Conquers the World. Because Toho had the really bad habit of revising scripts late in the production or even completely ripping scripts apart and making new ones out of them. I do remember from King Kong versus Godzilla that there was this myth that I'd like to dispel. The myth is that in the Japanese version, Godzilla won at the end, so each group would be happy. Instead, that wasn't the case. They only filmed one ending. That ending being King Kong surviving. Also, I'm not too hot in the movie because they have Godzilla fighting King Kong, and you know Godzilla's going to win. So out of nowhere, King Kong gets the powers of Raiden from Mortal Kombat, and he electrocutes King Kong. Godzilla gets electrocuted by him and gets thrown into the water, and King goes, ooh.
That sounds amazing. I hope that King Kong actually has electricity powers in the Legendary remake.
What I would do is have him die, and they electrocute him like from Justice League, and the electricity flows through him.
Right, or like he gets fried, and then like he lies down. You think he's dead, but he opens his eye, and like a little spark comes out. It just goes like in the Matrix.
I just hope he like takes off like he like gets a giant hat and throws it. Wait, no, that's Kung Lao. Man, we should work for Legendary.
Yeah. You mentioned there was a Frankenstein versus Godzilla.
It was, and then they couldn't get the rights to Godzilla. They didn't want to use him. So we had a new monster called Barugan. Basically, Frankenstein was a child who survived, and he ended up going to Hiroshima, where he also survived. But the radiation made him big and tall. Then he had two sons in the sequel, War of the Gargantuas.
Yeah, I think I actually saw a little like the ending of that, like at the OhioCon. So I was in like a screening room, and they were showing a thing where it's like
was one green and one brown and scaly?
Well, it had Frankenstein fighting like this giant squid monster.
Oh.
So I'm not sure which one.
Was it in color?
Yeah.
Okay, that may have been Frankenstein versus, or Frankenstein Conquers the World.
I think that was it, yeah.
Yeah, but actually they reused that scene in another movie that will be on the topic today.
All right. But yeah, I didn't realize that King Kong had such an extensive history in Japanese cinema.
Oh, he's the icon of the West. So Godzilla, they have... Why they work so well, Godzilla and King Kong as a duo, is in every way they are polar opposites. One is a mammal, one is a reptile, one is a king, one is the destroyer. One is of the sky, one is of the earth and sea. One uses, and it even goes to a point that one's a lover, one's a destroyer. Except in the one movie where Godzilla fell in love with a woman and kidnapped her.
Is that Bride of Godzilla?
No, but he actually didn't. We just picked this girl up and took him to his cave. I think it was Son of Godzilla. I was like, hey bitch, I need a mama. I apologize for that.
Yeah. Where is Skull Island supposed to be?
It depends on where you ask. It's either off the Japanese archipelago. It's between Australia and Africa, between Africa and South America. Wherever it is, it's in the sticks. Like...
Because you mentioned him as icon of the West. Like, what if Skull Island is actually east or south of Japan? I don't know. Like, I guess it's metaphorical.
Yeah.
What if maybe Skull Island is like
in New Jersey? No, it's in Lake Erie.
Or like it's an island that just moves around, like it's sentient.
That would be cool. Like oh my god, make that Anguirus and the shell is the island.
Oh yeah.
Damn, that'd be kind of awesome.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we can move on to the 1970s movie.
That's the one I've seen the least because it's garbage.
Yeah, have you seen like bits of it, or have you just not seen any of it?
I've seen bits of it.
Okay.
I was watching the movie, I think it was it, when they have, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we've tied down this monkey. Psh, psh. Oh, shit.
In that part, I was actually doing some reading on it, and at that point, it might have been a different take, but there's a part where he breaks out of the chains, and then one of the audience member goes, "Oh my God, he's leaking!" because of the hydraulics in the giant robot Kong, like just burst, and it was like going down his legs. And then another guy's like, "Oh, he's just excited because of the girl." But yeah, they built a like the production history of the 1970s movie strikes me as much more interesting than the actual movie.
Oh yeah.
Because, well, I mean, before it even got started, there was a legal battle between Paramount and Universal Pictures because Dino De Laurentiis, the producer of the Universal movie, he came up with the idea of doing a Kong reboot at almost the exact time as a person from Paramount did. So they both started work on a Kong reboot movie at the same time, and I guess the Paramount guy had a verbal agreement with like RKO, who owned the rights at the time, and who produced the original King Kong. He had a verbal agreement with him, but had a written agreement with De Laurentiis, and they had a fight over that. It was really messy before it even began. But what was really interesting was the giant robot Kong, which is picture the the Jaws robot from or like the Jaws animatronic from Jaws, obviously, and
How about Jaws in Sharknado?
let's get back to this first. Excuse me. There was a giant anthropomorphic or giant animatronic Kong robot built that cost $1.7 million. De Laurentiis was like, "Oh, this will make Jaws look like a Mino." Trying to do an Italian accent, failing. Jesus Christ.
You a disgrace.
Yeah, you a disgrace. Spaghetti, pasta.
Giant the Congo.
Yeah, whatever.
I apologize to all Italians.
I should be doing whatever. Fuck Italians. I'm gonna cut that out. Who cares? They're white people. God, just digging myself into a hole right now. Okay, $1.7 million to produce this giant animatronic King Kong that was constantly breaking. I think it was Rick Baker, who is known for doing the special effects for American Werewolf in London. I think he designed the suit because there's a giant robot Kong and there was a suit that they used for long takes or like faraway shots. I guess if Kong's like standing far away from the camera. Rick Baker, I think he designed that and I like how in his interview he's like, I was the only person dumb enough to put on the suits because like nobody else wanted to. He's like, I guess I'm the only one stupid enough to wear this thing. But the giant robot Kong, and then I know it's an animatronic, not the same as Mecha Kong or whatever.
Yeah,
because I know that's probably confusing you for being familiar with that. But the animatronic Kong was just constantly breaking, like the wrists. Like there's some scenes where you have the close up of the woman being held in Kong's hands, and like right in the middle of that take, the wrist would just snap loose, and so you'd have this woman just dangling in this precarious situation. And like I said, there's the scene where Kong stands up and snaps the ropes, and then he just starts peeing hydraulics down the. And it was just a mess.
If I was in the other video, his water broke! Her water broke!
Yeah. And then she'd go on to give birth to the Kong from Kong Skull Island.
You're actually not that far off from the comic.
Game theory. Does the De Laurentiis movie tie into King Kong Skull Island?
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? But yeah, it's also notable for having Kong, instead of him climbing the Empire State Building, he climbs the iconic building, the Twin Towers.
There's also, you can't just blame Kong for that. Godzilla did that in Godzilla vs. Megalon, a movie that has no scenes taking place out of Japan or the ocean, has a poster of Godzilla and Megalon fighting on top of the World Trade Center, trading blows.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of movies that have featured the Twin Towers prominently that are just awkward now.
Yeah, like Deus Ex made a really odd choice in forgetting it.
Mm-hmm. Also, Super Mario Brothers, the movie, like the sequence where reality is sort of like shifting, and because like in the parallel universe in Mario Brothers, like the Twin Towers are destroyed, and then you see when the two universes are fusing together, the Twin Towers are disintegrating in the background. It's like really uncomfortable for everybody involved.
I just have to say this about the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I would have added Donkey Kong in there, make him a gangster. You know, just he.
Like if there was gonna be a gangster character, I'd make him Wario.
Oh yeah, no, make them both gangsters. Like no, Wario's like the head guy. He has Luigi, or he has Waluigi's the driver, and then you see Kong in the back seat.
And they're the leader of the Shy Guys.
Yeah.
But back to King Kong.
Donkey Kong?
Yeah. I mean, the same thing. Whatever. The 1970s movie. It's like I said, it's more interesting to read about the production than it is the actual movie. They might have that at the library.
Probably.
I don't really care.
And are we getting up to the 2005 one?
Yes, and we have a lot to say about that because we've both seen it.
I remember watching it opening night.
Really?
Yep.
I think I don't know if it was opening night, but I remember seeing it at the Apollo right here.
Actually, that's where I saw it too.
Oh, maybe you were in the audience. But yeah, I remember seeing it with my uncle, and we were all just disappointed.
Like, I liked the Kong fighting the one T-Rex, and then the other one showed up and were like, "Hi guys, what you doing?" I kind of hate that they made Kong the god of the island.
Yeah, well, they did that in Skull Island.
But they did it well in Skull Island by basically saying, "Hold on, never mind." So, yeah, the movie had this thing where it's sometimes they would make Kong really weak, and others they would make him really strong. Mm-hmm. It was also kind of boring. Jack Black was the most memorable thing about that movie.
Oh yeah, I actually wrote down in my notes just Jack Black.
He was better than the guy who's the hero.
Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
I mean, Adrian Brody, I guess. Yeah. I mean, he's kind of just notable for being like the meek, boring actor of Hollywood.
Hey guys, I'm gonna fight a Kong.
I'm about to go fight that bastard who took Mary.
And you hear off camera, "That's a good take."
Yeah.
At least didn't cry this time. I also had to admit I liked the monsters. I liked the dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing, I mean, like, the number of things that I remember about it, because I remember seeing it, last time I saw King Kong was about almost 10 years ago, but I remember it just taking forever for them to get to the island. Like, there's so much buildup, and it just feels so, I mean, I think it takes, like, more than 20 minutes, almost a half hour for them to actually encounter the cannibals on the island. And I just remember being so friggin' bored the whole time.
You know, it needed something in, like, do a sea monster. Like, have, like, a plesiosaurus swing its neck up on the boat. Oh, no! And they shoot it. And then you see something bigger in the water pull it under. Like, these aren't like that.
I mean, that sounds like it happened, but, I mean, maybe you're just writing a movie that I'd really want to see.
Probably. Because I like Kong. Don't get me wrong. Yo. Yeah. Godzilla's my hero, but I like Kong a lot.
Mm-hmm. I remember, I think this was pointed out to me by Rick, but Rick is a member of our film group. He mentions how the cannibals don't make sense, and I get what Peter Jackson was trying to do with them, because it's not practical to have a bunch of this tribe of cannibals on this island. They're in this rich vegetation area. I mean, right next to them, I guess.
I have an easy answer. Our gods do not allow us to eat plants.
Yeah, but they don't specify that in the movie. I guess what I think that Peter Jackson was trying to do was sort of replicate that exploitation, cannibal Holocaust type theme in the original. Was that tribal people are scary.
Oh no!
I mean, yeah.
They aren't white Anglo-Saxons. We better run.
Savages. That was a Pocahontas reference, yeah. But yeah, I can see what he was trying to do. He just did it not that greatly.
Yeah. My favorite of the movie, though, was the monsters. Uh-huh. And Kong looked great. He was played by Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
It was an interesting bit of trivia. Andy Serkis played Kong, then he played Caesar in the Planet of the Apes remakes, And then the guy who played Koba in Planet of the Apes remake went on to play Kong in Skull Island. I'm just waiting for like the next film to pattern like that.
It's really neat to think that Andy Serkis landed his job just from a lifetime of making funny faces in the mirror.
I'm sorry, I just love him in Planet of the Apes, and he goes, ape, no kidding, ape. You know ape. I may have made a huge spoiler, I apologize.
I don't know what you're talking about, Good. So it's fine.
Yeah, back to Peter Jackson. I really liked him better when he was doing Dead Alive, and even the early Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings are great. Like the original trilogy.
I kind of like The Hobbit. Hobbit's a popcorn film. That's all it is.
Do you think that could have just been condensed into one movie, like everybody says?
It's a very dense book. And plus, they need to pad it out, but they padded it out wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, but then again, you also like the Shadow of War games.
I do. I'm sorry. I like orcs. In spirit, I am an orc. I am an Urukai!
But your first impression of the Peter Jackson film, was that positive or negative?
I remember being disappointed, and I couldn't tell why, because I realized that they tried many things. They tried many things. They tried hitting every button they could with every Kong thing they could do, and they still screwed up.
I thought, and I think it more now than I did back when I first saw it, but the relationship thing between Kong and, is her name Marion, the girl? I don't know. But like,
Blondie.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, Blondie. They went from, because I thought, it was interesting because I thought that this was what it was like in the original, but they have her and Kong build this weird relationship or friendship or whatever. I don't know. I think it's kind of weird now. But like, what did you think of that?
I was a kid. I was 6 when I saw this movie. So I think I was like, "Oh, you saved me! I'll save you!" Oh no!
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I say it's weird because they have these like tender moments, like the part where Kong escapes from the theater, and then like there's like a 5 minutes, the ice skating scene.
Dude, no, you know what got me pissed off? I want to see the after credit scene where this like all the janitors come out like, well, a 5,000-pound monkey fell from the sky and killed everyone. What do we do now?
Get the fire axes. I was gonna say chainsaw, but I'm like, oh, that wasn't around the 30s.
I'm just picturing they're having a barbecue all day long.
Did you ever play the
video game?
Yeah, the video game.
Love the game. Huh. It's a great game.
Yeah, I hear that it's a really good, probably one of the very few movie adaptation games.
Because you can play as Kong, and it's boring watching Kong take on 3 T-Rexes, or they're called in the movie the Rexes. Well, because you can grab them and you beat the shit out of them. Like, I'm getting excited because you could beat him like a dog. I used to like beat one until he's near death, then switch to the other, and then kill all 3 of them in succession. And if you cheated, they took away all your points because you got points from like, doing this and doing that. I don't think you could shoot the savages in the game though. However, you could shoot the hell out of velociraptors.
Did you ever get the alternate ending?
What?
Like in the game, there's an alternate ending where I think if you collect enough hidden things or whatever, there's an alternate ending where Kong lives and they take him back to the island.
I did get that. I had to cheat. I had to do it, but yeah. My favorite thing was they had this museum gallery where you could see all the monster models. It was a good game.
Yeah, I remember, speaking of monster models, that was the same thing in God of War. You could unlock, a monster museum, or, 3D models of the in-game sprites. And what's interesting with that was that, the Cyclops model, and because, they had a bit of trivia for each model.
Were they going to be mammalian and have the big genitals?
Oh, yeah, where the Cyclops had a penis, but they had to take that out. And then there was a message that said, "Poor Cyclops." This is by one of the developers.
I want there to make it be a God of War game, but you make your own demigod, and you could join Ares and build your army.
You have to play God of War: The Last of Us. Damn it.
The God of Us.
Yeah. I'm not really looking forward to it. I mean, I'm trying to keep an open mind, but I just played Left Behind, or Last of Us Left Behind. I think that's what it's called.
Is it good?
No. I didn't. I really didn't. I mean, the original game is pretty okay, but the the add-on DLC is just. I mean,
Hot dog shit.
I wouldn't say it's dog shit. It's more like bird shit. Where it's like you don't mind it that much, but it still messes up your car.
Me and my mom just got the car cleaned a couple days ago when we were driving home, and a bird shit, and it hit the dead center in front of her. So wherever way you look, you're staring at the bird shit. My last watching on Peter Jackson's King Kong. Peter Jackson plays the guy who shoots Kong down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He was in the biplane?
Yeah.
I think I remember hearing that.
And one of the producers is in the other one.
Well, I remember, like, when I was actually on Wikipedia looking up that movie, and I thought that the guy who played, like, the action star actor guy who, like, swings from the vine and is, like, Tommy gunning, like, the brain slugs or whatever,
yeah.
I thought that was Bruce Campbell, but I looked it up and it was some other guy, and that just fucked me up.
Maybe you're thinking of Congo.
Oh, yeah, Congo, yeah. And I was going to mention that when we did the Rampage episode.
Oh.
But,
we forgot.
Yeah. Oh, we'll talk about that in a bit, if we can. But yeah, would you recommend Congo?
Actually, yeah. It's a damn fun movie. We have to get the diamonds and look for zombie ape.
Yeah, shooting zombie gorillas with laser guns. I mean, if that doesn't sell you on the movie immediately.
It's written by Michael Crichton. I like to imagine it takes place in the same world as Jurassic Park, because I want them to like have like the monster of a new movie, Endoraptor, chasing them, and they pull out a laser gun, and Endoraptor pulls out two of his own. Dude, I want space dinosaurs now.
I guess next we can talk about Kong Skull Island.
God, I love this movie.
Oh, yeah. I saw it too, and I really liked it. I really liked it as well. I wouldn't say I loved it, but it was definitely better than the Peter Jackson movie. It's very campy, but I like that about it.
It has to you can't make, it's a 200,000 pound gorilla and make him serious. Well, too serious. Because what I love is, you're watching a movie, alright, checking my watch, we're on the island. Oh look, there's a mountain, and a mountain turns around and you go, oh shit! I'm sorry, I just love it when you just start swatting him out of the air. I have one fun about that movie, or actually a Godzilla monster makes a cameo. You remember the bamboo scene where they're walking through the forest and the legs start coming out of the spider? That's Kumanga. What I like is, you notice, all the monsters except for Kong and the skull crawlers had some sort of plant theme to them. Because everything on the island was connected. We are all one.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember that part where the giant monster comes out of the bog, and they're like, don't shoot it, don't shoot it. Like, that was pretty cool. And, like, it did have, like, trees and stuff growing out of it, if I remember correctly.
Like, there's even flying bats. What I love is the comic book has a monster called the Psycho Vulture, which is my new favorite name of anything ever. It's a vulture that shoots lightning from its forehead.
Awesome. Yeah, there's a bunch of moments in Kong Skull Island, awesome moments.
Yeah, like when, my favorite one was when you see the chain wrapped around his arm and he looks to the engine, and you see that moment of realization on his face. He goes, I like this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it did have, like we mentioned, like how everything is sort of in equilibrium.
Yeah.
It did have, in that sense, I think that's what made it, what gave it some good world building.
My favorite line of the whole movie is, Kong's king around here, but the devils live below.
Well, yeah, there was that awkward part, or like the forced awkward part, where he's like, you know, I call these monsters, or like the monsters are called, what are they called? Skull crawlers. And they're like, looking at him like, why are they called skull crawler? Or like, no, he's just like, oh, I just think that the name's cool, okay?
That's kind of funny.
I mean, yeah. Well, John C. Reilly stole the movie for me.
Yeah. I want him to be put him in, what I would do, open Godzilla King of the Monsters of his thing, and he says, so what else do you find on the island? There was something big in the water, something big and angry, and Kong would throw rocks at him and call him a cuck.
Yeah, but I actually think that if I wrote the movie, it would be all about John C. Reilly. Make it like Castaway, where it shows his life completely after landing on the island.
And how him and the Japanese pilot learned to communicate.
Yeah. And just make it, and like save the part where Samuel L. Jackson's army shows up just at the very end.
Maybe third act.
Yeah, third act. And yeah, like I would have loved it if this whole movie was just about John C. Reilly.
Yeah, I kind of like Samuel L. Jackson in it though.
Yeah.
Because he had that bitch, please. I love that line where he just looks her.
Yeah, it felt kind of out of place. I mean, it felt kind of, I guess, anachronistic. I guess it kind of worked.
Well, it's Samuel L. Jackson. He defies time and space.
True. I'll throw him that.
I heard in the comic, or one of the comics, that he has a son named Jules. That is the best Easter egg ever.
Well, that would be great if... game theory. Does King Kong take place in the same universe as Pulp Fiction? Nobody cares. I just lost 10,000 subscribers.
I just want to see, like, it's like one of the monsters from Godzilla 2014 is attacking the city, and Marcel Wallace's men are pulling out guns, shooting him down. Godzilla takes the briefcase and, like, he opens it up, holds it up to his eye, and goes, closes it up and walks into the ocean.
I just imagine them shooting their guns, and then, like, Godzilla, like, just shrugs them off, and Joe's like, God, stop them motherfucking bullets. Godzilla.
God, we need to write some fan fiction.
Yeah. Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. How much time do we got?
We got 5 minutes time.
Oh, okay. We're making good time. But yeah, we talked about... would you recommend Kong Skull Island?
Hell yes. I'd recommend it, but you have to watch Godzilla 2014, so when you feel so somber and open up that one.
Yeah, I didn't really... I mean, yeah, Kong Skull Island was better than Godzilla 2014, in my opinion.
Yeah, 2014's too slow. It's a slow burn film. It's still good, but...
There's definitely better characters in Kong Skull Island.
Dude, John C. Reilly showed up and have him playing a really old version. They're like, I remember Kong. He'll whoop his little ass.
I mean, with, like, the epilogue to Skull Island, I would appreciate it if he just, like, stayed in his suburban home for the rest of his life, eating hot dogs.
The news channel comes over and talks to him once in a while.
He just, like, changes the channel. It's like, I'm done with that shit. We can talk now. Or, were you going to say something?
Can I lead us into this one?
Sure.
My mom loves The Rock. Rock is her hero.
Oh, wait, no. We got to talk about
franchising.
Because as a lot of people know, Godzilla has like what 30 plus films in his franchise, but King Kong never really received the same treatment. So we can only imagine what it would be like if Kong was franchised the same way as Godzilla. What it would be like if we had Godzilla or like King Kong versus Megalon or King Kong versus Mothra or whatever.
By the way, that would be kind of fucking amazing, Godzilla versus Megalon, because all I'm picturing is the drills come out and he grabs the drills and they start shocking each other.
Are King Kong and Godzilla roughly the same size in the Toho films?
Yes. Like, one of the big things is that they change size between films, but whenever they have them, when they squared off, Godzilla was taller, but not by much. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a noticeable victory.
Because I would like it if this probably wouldn't have been feasible in the 60s, 70s. Yeah. If Godzilla or like if King Kong was like the same size as in like the Peter Jackson version. And then you had like Kong like scaling these buildings and jumping off of them to like hit Godzilla's weak points.
You know what we're going to talk about. You're going to actually kind of be angry at yourself.
Oh boy.
So, yeah, what I would like to imagine is that there would probably, the monsters would be better suited to creatures that are more physical. Mm-hmm. So you'd probably get like a monster that is so fast every time he throws a punch it misses. Mm-hmm. You probably get a really crappy film where they remake King Kong as a giant spore. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Franchising King Kong would be a lot different because you'd have to consider King Kong has no projectile weapons other than picking something up and throwing.
Or lightning.
Oh God, does he becomes lightning god? They call him the Storm God, or the Mountain of Moves.
Or I think about Dragon Ball Z, like how you have the Great Ape transformations. Yeah. And I think they can still shoot energy balls in that form. And so I'm just bigger? Yeah. So I'm just picturing King Kong shooting a Kamehameha at Godzilla. And just at the same time, Godzilla is breathing the atomic breath and just like colliding in midair.
No, he did the triple atomic breath where particles start accelerating. All of a sudden, you see Mario. Oh no! He's in a fracture in the universe. I'm sorry. I'm in a Mario mood. You'll find out why.
I thought you were imitating Dino De Laurentiis.
Oh no, he's a ruling the film. He didn't swing the leg.
Why didn't I think of that?
I just want to picture him. No. If they do the next Kong movie, have a parody of him as a guy who wants to make a movie about King Kong, so they go to Skull Island.
Oh yeah, just rehire Jack Black for that. I almost call him Black Jack.
Yeah.
He's the anti-universe version. No, that would be Jack White.
No, that would be like Blake White.
I was referring to because they're actually Jack White from White Stripes.
Oh.
Because people have made that joke before.
Oh no! Do you know what I would see in a franchise Kong universe? You would get a really, really weird manga. Because there's a Godzilla manga that has a vor scene. Where have you seen Godzilla 2000?
No.
Basically, UFO is found in ocean. They turn UFO on. It sucks Godzilla's blood and turns into a Godzilla monster. It can only be sated if it can eat Godzilla. So Godzilla's fighting it, and it opens its mouth, and you see Godzilla. He's got that the squint face. And then the jaws open up and tentacles come out and wrap around Godzilla. And he starts freaking the shit out as it eats him whole. And then he breathes fire inside of his stomach and it swells up and explodes. It's like something you'd see in Wreck-It Ralph too.
Yeah, that scene still grosses me out.
God.
But yeah, speaking of horrible, disgusting things, you just recently saw Rampage.
Yeah, so I started before I realized we had to talk about the franchises. So my mom loves rock. Love you, Mom, but you wanted to see Rampage, and we were going to see Rocky Horror anyways, so we decided to make it a double feature. So I said, you know what, I'll give it benefit of a doubt. So I get in there and watching it, and it opens strongly. Because you see they're in space, and they have a rat. Oh look, it's a rat, and it's mutated. They have to get the mutagen out. Well, we're getting the mutagen out, and the rat ambushes a lady. She escapes, but she damaged the escape pod. And you cut to Earth, and you see Energen instead of Scum Labs. And like, oh no, what are we going to do? Get out, before you can destroy the samples. So shuttle explodes, samples fall to Earth. One lands in San Diego, where they have a gorilla preserve. One lands in the Everglades, and one lands in Wyoming. You cut the rock and go, oh yeah, I love animals. Yeah, look at my muscles. This is George. He's weird. The other gorillas don't like him, but he beats their ass. And you get this really cringy guy, and another cringy guy, and this girl who shows up to hit on Rock once. And then they find out the mutagens escaped. And they find out when they get back there, and George is 12 feet tall, and he killed an Alaskan grizzly bear. And the movie goes on, oh no, we found out Wyoming, it created this wolf bat. And the furries call him Ralph with a direct line. This movie, the thing that pissed me off most, there was a Rampage arcade booth in the background of the villain scene. You don't understand how mad that makes me. Because I just wanted them to turn around and go, see that? That's cool, but we're cooler. And the thing about the movie is he stresses, I don't hurt animals. That's Rock's thing. Uh-oh, look, that animal doesn't belong to me. And he's just running around shooting these things. And the thing that pissed me off was that they said, they made a clear note, these monsters are killers. Ralph eats a bus, eats like 15 soldiers. George crushes everything that moves. Lizzie kills like 6 people in the entire film on camera. The giant monster they bill as the villain kills less people than you can count on your fingers. And they kill off Lizzie in the most stupid way. So they have him, he rips off her teeth, George does, and he's stabbing her in the head and does nothing. However, when he grabs a rod, he jumps in the air because he's like the size of her butt. And he pierces her through the skull. And the metal rod worked, her teeth didn't. And what really pissed me off, hey, we can't kill him, we have to find a new home for him. And then he gets stabbed through the heart. And everyone, and there are people in the audience happy because the damn gorilla's dead. And you see him open his eyes. And, and he makes that joke about screwing the one girl literally with the hand sign I'm making right now, I dare you to draw that. And basically, the movie ends like, oh, you're such a goof. And I'm watching the movie going, I hope all of these characters die. And I don't mean like get eating. I mean like have a giant acidic swarm of bugs eat them. I will have to say this though. The movie could have worked with most of the cast. Call them Scum Labs. Make it like an acronym for scientific creation and mutagenic masterworks or whatever. And have The Rock play the guy who has to help his buddy. His buddy's being one of the lame dudes who gets turned into Ralph. Have the girl, the scientist girl, be Lizzie. Have the weird Western guy as Ralph. The weird Western guy save the movie. I'm sorry I'm ranting, so I'm just getting all the word pasta out.
So, would you recommend this?
Yes. Yes, I wouldn't. Oh, yeah, I just have to say this about the movie, though. The thing that really got me mad about the movie was that George is a good guy. As you watch him kill hundreds of soldiers who have wives and kids. Imagine, sorry, your son died fighting the great white ape. Here's your medal. I have a question. Where is he right now? Well, he's currently on Skull Island trying to procreate with Kong, but... Yeah, that I'm sorry. There was nothing in this movie made sense to the games, or even to themselves. I'm also pissed off that Ralph didn't even get a good fight in. They had him get his head chomped off by Lizzie in the movie. I'm getting mad thinking about it. I can only imagine you.
I mean, I know that I may have presented myself as somebody who loves Rampage and is just a huge fan. I wouldn't say I'm that big of a fan of the franchise.
Is it just disrespecting that?
It's more just nostalgia, if anything. Because I had a lot of fun playing the arcade game. I had a lot of fun playing World Tour. But that was many, many years ago. I mean, I would have loved to see them do something more faithful or something with a bit more layered to it. But for right now, knowing that it's a big pile of shit, I'm disappointed but not surprised.
You know what would have been amazing, though? If the guy who directed it also was the guy who directed Jumanji 2, because then it would make a real... You know what I would have done? I just have to say this. I could have fixed the ending. Have they turn off the thing, they had to give George a serum and make him friendly. Have him look to Ralph and have him look to Lizzie, and he goes, he starts doing monster talk. And they see the helicopter of a villain flying away. Lizzie nods, jumps in the lake. George jumps or throws Ralph after them, and you have them team up to take him down. And at the end, so the Everglades that now have a protector from pollution. So Ralph protecting the wolves with his hunting skills. And so George picking his nose, I don't know.
I don't know. The more I think about it, Rampage, the games had a very satiric element to them. Because I remember there was the cutscene for Total Destruction where the monsters are emerging for the... I think it was because... And you might want to correct me on this.
Soda.
Yeah, the soda. Is that Scum Labs puts out this new soda that they know is contaminated, but they're gonna put it out anyway, and it shows some guy drinking it wow, this tastes great, and he just falls dead behind the table, and then a giant monster arm just reaches up and it was very almost like RoboCop levels of corporations and all of that level of that bitter satire.
Dude, what they should have done is made it a Total Destruction movie and have it an Avengers team of giant monsters. No, have their Nick Fury as played by Ryan goes yeah, because I still think The Rock was okay, except he was awful in the movie. I'm go he's an okay actor. Give him something better to work with. Have him go, hey, you're George. Hey, we need you to save Lizzie, your friend. And have them team up, and in the final part, you have Infinity War level of giant monsters. They're just rampaging through the city to fight Scumlabs. I don't know. Yeah, this movie makes me angry, but I was more angry watching it. I was angry not because I knew it was going to be awful, but I gave it a chance, and it spit in my eye.
I mean, going back to satire, you mentioned how George racks up the highest body count of the movie.
Yeah.
If there was dealt with a bit more of a satirical element, oh, he's saving us.
They don't mention it at all. It's yeah, our monkey's good. Cut to him ripping a bus in half full of people and throwing it in the air.
I mean, yeah, if there was a hard cut to that, and they were oh, he's gonna save us all, and he just reaches into a school bus and starts eating a handful of children, that would have been funny.
Dude, it should have been directed by, like, James Gunn.
Yeah, or never mind. The guy who did RoboCop and Starship Troopers.
They're into the...
I don't know if like he's probably not. He's probably. I mean, no, he did a movie not too long ago, but it was more like dramatic. But yeah, I could see James Gunn doing a Rampage movie.
Yeah, just like have Chris Pratt show up in there and his
No, Uwe Ball.
Oh God!
I mean, he already did a movie called Rampage that was actually not related to the games, which kind of confused me.
It had the same body count.
Did you see it?
No, all I know is that it
was. I think it was like supposed to be a Postal, but played straight, which
it wasn't even played straight from what I remember seeing clips of it. It's like, I hate the world. Why? My wife left me. Like, man, Uwe Boll gets me so mad right now.
I heard Postal was good.
It was, but why I liked it was it came with a copy of Postal 2. And it was the library.
Postal 2 is a good game.
Yeah. Have you got the DLC for it?
Yeah, I haven't gotten to it yet, though. It's been, like, I'd have to pick up Postal 2 again and finish that. But yeah, I like games like it has that old feel to it, where it's like you know how games now are like, you can do anything. You can shoot guys. You can hide behind cover. You can steal a car.
Sometimes you just need to go back to the class.
Yeah, like Postal 2 is a game where you can literally do anything.
You can go into gimp suits, set people on fire.
You can shoot leprechauns. You can put a cat on the barrel of a gun and use it as a silencer.
We should do that. I'm kidding, but we have feral cats where we live. Mm-hmm. I call them the dueling banjos cat.
Oh yeah, and also in Postal 2 you can pee on everything.
Oh yeah, just walk around with your fly down. Oh god, they should have added like a school to be able to have children. Just walk in there. Kids, I'm gonna teach you about leprechauns. It'd be better than Postal 3.
Oh yeah, like even the developer, Running with Scissors, even they hated Postal 3 because they didn't work on it. It was a third-party developer that didn't even speak English, and Running with Scissors. I think they've been trying to get back the license to make another game.
I hope if they do, that it's done in the same graphic style as Postal 2.
Oh, that'd be good. I mean, I was just thinking the other day about Half-Life and how Valve has just shelved Half-Life 3 for an indefinite period of time. If they did a Half-Life 3 in the original Gold Source engine that it was for Half-Life 1, I'd be behind that.
Yeah. Do you know what I wish they would do?
I mean, I am pretty much a Half-Life apologist at this point. Everybody's in just the bargaining phase, I think, at this point.
Hey, Mr. Valve, you don't have to make Left 4 Dead for free. You could just make Half-Life free instead.
Do you think you can make it on DOS, please, Mr. Valve?
I'd play it on Linux. No, half the Bethesda do Half-Life 3 have their model team.
I think that Naughty Dog has said that they'd be willing to make Half-Life 3, and I'm like, no, I don't know if I'm that desperate.
You know what, Naughty Dog?
I mean, current era Naughty Dog. I mean, if they had never made Uncharted, and if this was after coming off of Jack 3, then
no. Do you know who would be the worst size to do a BioWare?
I'd see your BioWare and raise you Telltale.
I like Telltale.
Really?
Yeah, I like their game.
You think that you'd buy a Telltale King Kong game?
If it's the guy who did their Batman, Walking Dead, and Fable game, yes. You could play as Kong and choices are like, crush human. You could be a lover, not a fighter. No, they need to make a Rampage game. When you're done rampaging, you have to make choices like, do you save Lizzie? Yes.
Lizzie is best girl.
Yeah, that's another reason I'm disappointed that they didn't have real people turn into monsters. Because then you have them coming out of the transformation.
What if Lizzie, they were really deformed from the transformation the first time? And Lizzie were, help me, I got a goddamn tail!
I like Cronenberg's The Fly.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I'm just picturing George is hey, I'm happy with what I got.
What was that Edgar Allan Poe story where the orangutan murders a woman?
Oh, that?
It's called, oh yeah, Murders in the Rue Morgue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember like reading that in high school and getting to the end and being like, did a monkey seriously dress up in a tuxedo or something and just kill a woman?
I just like to picture like two monkeys standing on their shoulder.
Because that is just the most ridiculous. I know they're framing it like a horror story, but this is the most ridiculous shit.
No, do you know what the worst ending I ever read was? There was, oh god, it was a fan fiction. I apologize, but like the statement.
Fan fiction doesn't count as terrible literature.
There's this Godzilla fan fiction. It's Godzilla meets Evangelion meets Starship Troopers. There's a dash of Celtic folktale. And the ending has Godzilla waking up on the beach looking for Asuka because they're partners. And he can't because she doesn't exist in this world. So Godzilla shoots fire into the sky and the smoke makes the shape of Asuka. And that is how we end this.
All right. Well, I have been Tony.
I have been Zach.
And this has been The Monkey Bar.